Hi everyone, thank you for joining another Rider Pilates. We're focusing on your upper body today. This is really useful for all of us, but particularly if you find that you struggle with your contact, you struggle with keeping it even, this is a great exercise for you. Equally, if you think your posture could do with a little bit of work, this is the session for you to be doing. So let us think about our posture before we even start. So making sure you've got that nice light head, that elastic spine drawing you upwards, relaxed shoulders, ribs sinking downwards, headlights to the front, soft knees, and equal weight through your feet. And then we're turning your head side to side, keeping your eyes level as you go, so watching that you don't dip down, so your eyes are level. Okay, face the front, pop your feet one in front of the other so that you're in that lunge position. Try to keep equal weight through your feet if you can. Certainly, headlights are forwards. Hands up in front, bring one hand to your shoulder and into that turn behind you and forwards. The same to the other side. So as you do that turn, you're opening through your upper body, but your headlights stay forwards, and that will help you to focus that movement to your upper body. If your pelvis starts to move, it becomes a whole body exercise. Okay, let's swap, pop the other foot in front, same thing again, so hands up, one hand back and into that turn, headlights staying fixed to the front. One more each way. Okay, let's now go to the end of your mat with your feet together and your knees soft. Hands on the front of your thighs, tuck your chin into your chest, and you're sliding your hands down, curling up as tightly as you possibly can through the whole of your spine. Nice breath in at the bottom, breathe out, stack down your pelvis, and then you are stacking each vertebra one at a time, right up through until your chin comes up last. We'll do this one more time, so chin in, and again, every single vertebra, all one at a time. Upper back, middle of your back, low back, then your pelvis. Breathe in at the bottom, and as you breathe out, then bend your knees down onto your mat, and we're starting off with your breaststroke exercise. So, I'd like you to have your arms by your side. If possible, palm down. Otherwise, thumb and index finger down, but not palms up. It just puts your shoulders in a rather awkward position. So, thumbs out to the side if possible. Shoulder blades back and down, so that lifts your shoulders away from the floor. Tummy away from the puddle of water, pelvic floor onto floor 3. Float your fingers, reach for your toes, and rest back down. So that float and reach, just lifting your chest slightly off the mat. You shouldn't be doing this. If you are, you're sinking down through your tummy, and you've lost that, keeping your tummy away from the puddle of water. So it's a small movement, don't try and make it too big. Keep your pelvic floor onto floor 3. If you find this is a little bit easy, pop your hands under your head, and you can do the same thing with your hands under your head. Obviously you're looking at the floor, I'm looking at you so that you can hear me better. But the same thing, keep your tummy away from the puddle, otherwise you'll just be doing this, which is just hinging through your low back, which I do particularly well. Two more. Well done, jolly good. Okay, we're going to move on to your hundreds exercise, and I'd like you to start, if you've got the space, with your arms out to the side. If you don't have the space, don't worry, just do them by your side instead. Again, looking down, shoulder blades back and down, tummy away from the puddle, and off you go. You're patting those imaginary puddles of water lightly underneath your hand, so minimal splashing. And you're moving from your shoulders, not wrists or fingers. So you want to be moving from your shoulders because that means you are working the muscles that stabilise, control, strengthen around your shoulder blades. And those are the ones that in the saddle are going to give you the greatest control over your contact, your hand position, your ability to move smoothly with the horse. If you're weak around your shoulder blades, that's going to impact on your contact. And so this is a really good exercise. It's a very simple exercise, as long as you remember the basics like shoulder blade position, tummy position, pelvic floor. But get it right, move from your shoulders, not from here, because then you're just not really achieving much, or anything like as much if you're moving from there. Okay, let's bring your arms back down by your side, and then we're going to prop up onto your forearms, and we're going to do your leg pull. So look at your hands, pelvic floor onto floor 3, lift your pelvis, slowly back down. And you will notice I did that my upper body stayed pretty still. Try to avoid lowering through your head. You should find as you lift your pelvis that you gently feel the muscles around your shoulders and your arms starting to work. If you want to make it harder, hope you can see my feet, the sun's coming out, then tuck your toes underneath, then it's pelvic floor, lift your pelvis, lift your knees, lower your pelvis, or lift knees and pelvis together and lower them together. Now it doesn't matter which one that you do the one that works best for you, just provided that you can keep breathing and keep your upper body still. This is all about control. So if your upper body is starting to move around all over the place, if you do the harder one, go back to the lower level one. It doesn't mean that you're a failure, it just means you're not quite strong enough yet to be able to do the slightly harder version. Also watch with your breathing with this one. Try to make sure that you breathe out as you go into the lift and breathe in as you come back down, just because as you go into the lift your tummy muscles are working quite hard. That increases the pressure on your pelvic floor, and so if you're then holding your breath as well or breathing in as well, then that will increase the pressure just that little bit further. Okay, 2 more of this one, whichever version you're doing. Okay, then we're going to come up into sitting, and I would like you to sit with your legs straight and your hands out behind you. So my mat is shorter than a lot of people's, and so my feet, to the sort of perfect position for me for this is feet at one end, hands at the other end of the mat. Fingers pointing behind you or out to the side, whichever feels most comfortable. Pelvic floor onto floor 3, then lift your pelvis and slowly back down. And you should feel as you lift that your weight goes back onto your hands. If your hands are underneath you, it makes it really, really hard because there's nowhere for your weight to go. You want your hands behind you so that your weight goes back onto your hands, and it's much easier to get that movement. So again, we're looking for that real control element. Smoothly up, smoothly down. If you find this is really easy, you can make it a bit harder by staying here. If your shoulders and wrists are up to it, staying here and doing a few leg lifts. Just make sure that your pelvis stays still, not wobbling around, and also make sure that you can still breathe if you are staying in this position. But if you've got shoulder discomfort, wrist discomfort, probably not the progression for you to be doing. Okay, bring yourselves back down. Then I'd like you to turn your hands, if you can, so your fingers are in towards you. Again, for some people, the most they can do is here, or else prop onto your wrists, onto your fists. It's entirely up to you, whatever is most comfortable. And we're going to do your tricep dips. So this time your pelvis is staying still for the time being, but again your weight is going back. You need your hands behind you. If you're under here, or your hands are under here, as soon as you go back, your triceps are working really hard straight away. It makes it much harder for them. So having them back here is a much more doable exercise. You can make it harder though by lifting your pelvis like you did with the leg pull, and then doing your elbow dips from here. But do make sure you bend the elbows and not just go back to doing the leg pull that we just did. So we won't do many of these because these can be quite uncomfortable. 2 more. Super job. Bring your pelvis down if it was up. Lovely. Okay. Back, so you're sitting either cross-legged or frog-legged. If you want to sit onto something, then by all means do just pause and get something. So I sometimes get asked why we do the tricep dips. There are times, particularly if you're going cross-country where you need to take a pull, you might have really long reins, you might end up doing some quite interesting movements. You need to have good strength down the back of your arms for your with your triceps to be able to do things like that. So, and it's all just about balance. We don't just want strong biceps, we want strength everywhere. So it's not a comfortable exercise for a lot of people, but it's still a good one to do because it's one of the few exercises we can do for the triceps in terms of strengthening. Okie doke, arms up in front of you. Try to get your elbows level, and then you're pushing your elbows forwards, keeping your elbows level as you go into that push. You'll probably be aware of your seat bones, and try to make sure that your seat bone pressure is equal, so you're not rocking from one side to the other. If you can, when you get to that 4-point, lift those elbows up, so you go forwards, scoop up, forwards, scoop up, come back down, and you're just really mobilising that area between your shoulder blades. Let's have a go the other way. So cross your legs the other way if they were crossed, fold your arms the other way if they from the first one, and this will feel really weird, but again, try and make sure your seat bones are equal, headlights are level, and off you go into those nice forward reaches, keeping your headlights level as you go, and then if you can, scooping up at the end. Last one. Bring your arms back down, and let's do some nice big rolls up, back and down. Really loosen off through your shoulders. Your upper body's worked really hard, so loosen off. You don't want to be carrying any tension away from the session. And then bring your arms up and out into a V shape, and then take your arms just behind you. It may only be a centimetre or two, but you'll feel everything stretching a little bit, and then relax. And again, arms just behind you, stretch and relax. And one last go. Good big stretch. And relax and bring your arms back down, and we are going to finish there. So if you're feeling a little bit tired having done that, maybe doing the cool down session or doing a relaxation session might be a really good thing to do. Otherwise, just make sure you go off and do a few more shoulder rolls over the next 5 to 10 minutes or so. I hope you found that useful. These exercises, it's always worth coming back to time and time again, just to really help. The better our contact, the happier our horses will be. So thank you very much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. It's just the best thing ever when I see the numbers going up. Look after yourselves, and I'll see you very soon.